This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Silent Witness, the true crime cold case podcast here at Rogue Media. Last week, Christina was sharing a super interesting case with us, and we're coming back to it today. So remind us what we were talking about last week.
Okay. So last week we talked about Jerry and Shelley Watkins.
Yes.
From Corsicana.
Yes. Okay.
They were celebrating Labor Day with family on Cedar Creek Lake on September 6, 1993. Jerry took his two young daughters home, and shortly thereafter, Shelley came home. The couple fought, and she, according to Jerry's statement, left home on foot and vanished. 7 days later, her body was discovered by fishermen in the Trinity River, wrapped in trash bags and chained to cement blocks.
Ugh. Hey, random question, because I don't think I asked this last time. How do we know they fought when they got home? Did Jerry admit that?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Jerry admitted that in a statement. I think neighbors also
Oh,
said
it was
they
loud
heard
enough
it.
that people heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I'm real curious about their marriage. But today...
Oh, I'm going to get into their marriage
Okay, cool.
later.
But today we're talking about
so
not that.
her husband was Jerry. So after she was found, her
Yes.
husband Jerry was indicted and arrested for the murders and bonded out of jail. And trial was set for August 1994. The case never made it to trial.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Another crime was brewing that would change this case forever.
Wait, what? Okay.
Okay.
So another crime? Okay, that's why? Okay.
We'll get into that later.
This is how my brain works.
Okay.
It's just
But
like a hamster on a
first,
wheel.
I want to talk about DA Earl Ray or E. Ray Andrews.
Ooh, you are worked up. I wish you guys could see her right now.
This
her
guy-
fingers are twitching.
This guy
She's
is
up
a
in her chair.
Scumbag.
Okay, why? What'd he do?
Okay.
Now, he's a DA. Prosecutors are typically thought to be the good guys.
Okay.
I mean, all attorneys are the good guys if they're doing their job right. They're just
Exactly.
representing the justice
But the reason
system.
I want to go into him and his history is
Okay.
because it is going to give you an idea of why the Watkins case has ended the way it has.
Okay.
Okay? It's going to
Which
give you,
means open-ended and nobody knows who killed her definitively. Okay.
Right.
We can
But let's go
assume.
back. Let's go back and let's talk about District Attorney E. Ray Andrews. He was
Okay.
elected DA in 1992.
Okay.
So approximately a year before Shelley's murder and
And then 2 years before the trial.
before the trial was set.
Okay.
He graduated from Baylor Law School.
Hey.
Okay.
Well, then he was trained well.
Well, no, he wasn't.
Oh.
But it's not Baylor's fault.
Right. I'm saying he was trained well.
His
He could
moral
still do his
compass
own.
was not trained well.
Yes. Oh, no. Okay.
But he was, before he was elected, he was a defense attorney.
Is that normal for a defense attorney to switch over to prosecution?
Yes, that
Okay.
happens all the time.
Is that like...
Yeah, in one of the counties I used to work at,
Mhm.
A previous defense attorney has now been elected county attorney. So that happens all the time.
That's so... I just thought it would
And
go
it
the
goes to-
other way.
And it goes to judges too. So like
Yeah.
defense attorneys will become judges or become county attorneys or district attorneys. But yeah, so that's a normal. I've seen it.
All the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
You know.
But his claim to fame in the 80s was a very high profile case in the 80s.
As a defense attorney.
As a defense attorney. It was the Black Widow, Betty Lou Beats.
Okay.
Okay, so Betty was on death row for killing her husbands and burying them in her
Plural.
yard.
Okay.
In 1985, he was her attorney during the death row penalty case.
So he wasn't her attorney the whole time?
He was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'll get into that here in just a second. He was her attorney before she was placed on trial.
Okay. So he held that the whole time.
Yeah, but
Layers.
he was her defense attorney during the death penalty case.
Okay.
Okay, because she was being tried and the state at the time wanted to put her to death
Mhm.
for this murder.
Multiple murders, right?
Yes, but she was only tried for one.
Oh.
And that's typically what a DA will do, is if there's multiple victims, they will try them. And we're going to delve into another case, Darlie Routier.
Okay.
And she was accused of killing her 2 sons, and they only prosecuted her for 1. And the same with this. They only prosecuted her for 1 murder of her husband because
The one they could prove.
No.
Because
No, they could prove both of them.
What the heck?
But because they try for the one, what if something happens and she's found not guilty? They still have that other one.
Oh, see. Okay, we're back to me not being smart enough to be an attorney.
So,
okay.
No, you're fine. No. But that makes sense, is that they have that in their back pocket.
Sure.
So if she's found not guilty, they're
Yeah, because
like,
double jeopardy.
you
you're
can't
out.
try again.
Okay.
So I've got this other murder I'm going to try you for. Or if
smart.
So that's what a lot of times they'll do.
Strategy. Okay. Okay, so they're trying her for the one husband.
Now,
Got
I
it.
bring this up because this what I'm about to go into has nothing to do with Shelley Watkins' case, her murder
Right.
case.
It's
Has
about the
nothing to do-
character of the DA.
It just gives you an insight to the DA, and what kind of person he is
Mhm.
to do what he did in 1994. Okay, another cliffhanger.
Gosh dang it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
So what did he do in the 80s
back to Betty's case.
with this poor Black Widow?
Betty
Well,
Beats
poor.
was on trial for killing her 5th husband, Jimmy Don. Jimmy Don.
Good Lord.
Jimmy Don Beats.
I don't think I could get married a second time. 5 times. Were they wealthy?
She buried him in her yard.
Gross.
Okay.
Okay.
It should be noted that her 4th husband was also found dead and buried in her yard, but she was only tried for Jimmy just for the reasons I specified earlier.
Right. Okay. I get it now.
Yes. So
Okay.
she denied and Betty denied that she did it and placed the blame on her son.
Oh,
But
okay. I was like,
her
somebody
kids
else.
testified against her. They admitted to concealing the murder, but said she did it. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, okay.
So let's go back to Andrews,
Yes.
the defense attorney, her defense attorney. He did very little to learn about this case and her personal history.
Okay.
In fact, he spent most of his days and nights at the VFW in Athens drinking 1/2 to 3/4 of a fifth of wild turkey every night.
Oh,
which is
gosh.
whiskey. Yeah.
Is that like verifiable?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He even admitted.
Oh, he admitted it?
Yeah. Later on.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay, so he had a problem.
He had a big old substance abuse problem. He would even
Okay.
go to lunch, drink, throw a few back, and then go on back to court.
Gosh. Okay.
So he was an alcoholic. He was a known alcoholic, known drug user, known gambler. He got some issues.
So he hit the addiction trifecta.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Had he done his job as a defense attorney, he would have known that she, Betty, had a lifetime of physical, sexual, and psychological abuse going back to even as a child, her dad, Betty's
Okay.
dad. Later on, she was diagnosed with battered woman syndrome.
Okay.
During the appeal process. So the abuse is mitigating circumstances, and they're important in death penalty cases because, without being too technical and too legal with all the legal nonsense jargon, it's basically excuses.
Okay.
Okay. It's basically reasons why somebody did what they did.
Sure.
And it is important. Mitigating circumstances are important, especially in sentencing, as a reason, and could possibly prevent somebody from getting put to death.
So you're saying that had he investigated this and shared this as a possible reason for her to have snapped or whatever, then she might not have been put to death.
Right. She
They would have
probably
looked
would
for
have gone
some-
to jail, but she may not have been put on death row.
And maybe some rehabilitation, things like that.
Well,
And,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
therapy.
And back then,
I mean, I don't know in the 80s if they thought that was like,
I-
that's not a high priority back then.
yeah, and back then we didn't have life without parole. We didn't get life without parole until the 2000s here in Texas. We had life and we had death, and life was, you get eligible for parole after 30 years.
Okay.
So if you think about the Selena, the singer,
Yeah.
her murderer, Yolanda, is up for parole this year or next year because we didn't have life without parole back then.
Okay.
We didn't get that until the 2000s.
Okay.
Okay. So she would have either had life or she would have had death.
Okay.
But it could have saved her life.
Yeah.
Jury, you can use mitigating circumstances. They're important in death penalty cases.
Okay. And he didn't present any of this or even know it.
I'm getting to the knowing
My bad.
part.
Okay.
He did not present it. He did
Okay.
not. No, I don't know that he knew or cared to know about the abuse.
Sure.
He didn't investigate that. I mean, he was too busy investigating wild turkey.
Oh gosh.
You know, you got to look at that.
And so they didn't investigate like their marriage or any, like if those men were, we just don't know.
Don't know.
Okay.
And I'm sure I'm sure if I dug really deep into this, I could have gotten some appeal paperwork and looked at it, but I didn't. I'm just giving you the basics.
Right. Because more important is
the Watkins case. But
Mr. Andrews.
Mr. Andrews and what he's done and what he could have done to save Betty Lou's life.
Mm-hmm.
So, Andrews had a conflict of interest in this case. He
What?
should have never represented her.
What was it?
So, he had a meeting with Betty in 1984. This was prior to the bodies being found,
Okay.
but Jimmy had already disappeared.
Okay.
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 He was gone. He was missing, according to Betty. But, you know, he wasn't officially murdered yet. He was just a missing person.
Okay. So she had reported him missing and she had a meeting with him.
Well, she had a meeting with him because, and this was before her arrest, but after her husband disappeared, Betty had asked Andrews about filing an insurance claim because of some fire damage to her trailer home. She asked him to help her with an insurance claim.
Why?
She explained that she was not working and that Jimmy had disappeared and he was the breadwinner and, you know, he had disappeared the year before and Jimmy Don was a retired Dallas firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrews told her that she would be entitled to insurance and pension because he's disappeared.
Okay.
And so Andrews knew that she didn't know about his insurance or pension from his employment. Betty didn't know this
until he told her.
And then he referred her to another attorney to help her. So he knew in 84 about that.
Why did she go to a defense attorney for an insurance claim?
I think it was just advice. You know, hey, I know this attorney. I'm going to ask. That's what I'm guessing.
Okay.
You know, and if you don't know any better, you know, and don't know the different attorneys, hey, my friend, you know, I've got one of my best friends is an attorney and I would ask him stuff. I don't know if he'd know it, but if I needed to ask him at something.
Okay.
But anyway.
That's fair.
Okay. So he referred her to another attorney that knew more about getting pension and getting insurance and all this. So let's go back to Betty's trial. When you have a death penalty case, you don't just because you kill somebody, that's not a capital case.
Okay.
There's got to be something else. So
motive.
No, not motive.
Money. Just kidding.
There's got to be something else. So
some extenuating circumstance, or what do you mean?
So let's say you go into a store to rob it and you shoot the clerk. Well, you got robbery and the murder.
Okay.
That would be capital.
Okay.
You kill a fireman or a policeman. That's capital automatically.
Yep.
You kill a child under the age, I think, of 4. It's automatic capital.
Okay.
So there's the Texas Code lays out certain things that makes it a capital case.
Okay.
And in this case, there is a provision that says that you can seek the death penalty if the killing was for the purposes of a long word, but basically money.
Wait, can or cannot?
Can. It's a capital case if you're killing for money.
Okay. See? Okay. That's what I said. Motive. Okay.
Motive, but you're doing it to, you know, you want to get their insurance or whatever. So,
right. So it's also fraud.
And also, if you hire somebody to kill, you can get the death penalty, even if you don't kill. But you hire somebody.
You started it. Yeah. It wouldn't have happened without you.
Yeah. And there's others. There's a lot of others. But
okay.
Anyway. Okay. So think for just a second. The DA is seeking the death penalty because they said that Betty killed her husband to get the money.
Oh, she didn't know.
She didn't know.
And he knew she didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, he was drunk. He
Andrews
doesn't know
knew
what
this.
he knew.
Well, no. I'm going to explain why Andrews didn't.
Okay.
This is the conflict.
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
So Andrews knew this was not true because of their meeting prior to her arrest.
Mm-hmm.
He could have been a witness for the defense. This wouldn't have been a death penalty case.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, if the man is 3 sheets all day, every day.
No, it had nothing to do with alcohol.
For him to remember the meeting?
He remembered the meeting.
How do you know he remembered the meeting?
I'm about to tell you.
Well, dang it, Christina.
He remembered. He wasn't drunk. I mean, he was a functioning alcoholic, I think. I don't know.
High functioning.
But he did
Good
remember the
gracious.
meeting because he admitted why he didn't report it.
What was his reason for not reporting it?
So Andrews, again, he would have been, he could have saved her life.
Twice.
Okay? But to be a witness, he would have had to recuse himself from the case, the death penalty case, from being her attorney during
Right.
the death penalty case.
He wanted the notoriety.
His price for representing the Black Widow was she surrendered all her media rights to him for her story.
Mm-hmm.
He hoped this would be the biggest thing ever, movies, books.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Black Widow.
Notoriety. Yep.
This is
He wanted all the money
you
and all the fame.
Yeah, you can't pay me, so sign over your rights to your story. Of course, it never happened.
Good.
I mean, he didn't get rich off, Betty Lou
Oh.
Beats, whatever. And in 2000, at the age of 62, she was put to death via lethal injection.
Wait, when?
In 2000.
Jeez, that's a long time.
Yeah. Women don't get put to death as quick as men do.
I was like, I thought they didn't even
They do.
get that sentence as often as men do.
Carla, she was the second one in recent modern times in Texas that's been put to death.
So
Carla Tucker, I think's her name. It was before, and then she was the second one. There had been one since.
So he could have recused himself and told everybody, nope, I know for a fact she didn't know about the money until I told her about the money, and it wouldn't have been a capital case.
No.
And then as her defense attorney of the capital case, he could have brought up the battered woman syndrome.
Well, not even that. Not even
as a defense.
No, that would have just been something in sentencing to bring up to maybe not give her a reason.
I'm just saying, like he screwed her over twice.
Right, 100%. But the whole point of the state's case in her case was that she did it for the money when she didn't even know about the money until he told her about the money.
And he knew for a fact that she didn't know about the money.
Of course. And he even admitted it in later appeal paperwork that he wanted those rights.
What the scum?
He wasn't going to give up those rights to her story.
So he knew for a fact. Oh, I think I see where this is going. So he knew for a fact that she didn't do it for that reason.
Right.
And did not step up.
And
as a what are y'all, officer of the court? He's supposed to put the truth first. Well, that's
officer
scummy.
of the court. And that's important. And anybody, including myself, that's worked in courts, you are an officer of the court and you have to abide by that. And he morally and legally should have done something and recused himself and not been a greedy scumbag.
Yeah. I mean, based off this knowledge, my personal opinion is that that's very scummy for several reasons.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he didn't get any money out of it.
Me too. Me too.
What a jerk.
Yeah. I mean, this wouldn't have been a death penalty case had he just done the right moral thing. And she would have been put to death. Now, it is hard in a death penalty case for even all of this coming out and put in appeals, and it went to, the governor, it went to, the parole board. Hey, let's stop this. Gosh. She didn't do it for this reason. It's hard for a parole board or the governor just do a stay of execution, especially back then. We've seen a few stays recently. But it should be easier to stay in execution. I am a firm believer in the death penalty. However, only if it's 100% they did it.
Right.
And they did it for, and it is a death penalty case and everything, T's are crossed, I's are dotted.
100%. Yes.
And in this case, it wasn't.
It was questionable.
Yeah. And so, but she was
he later admitted it? He later was like,
well,
yeah,
he admitted it, and I think it was in appeal paperwork.
Okay.
And yeah, he admitted it, and they put it in appeals, but it was a little too late.
God.
They still didn't uphold it, and they still put her to death.
Yeah. I mean, that's also harsh.
And they shouldn't have. They should have at
Technically.
least re-looked at the case.
Yeah. I don't understand why they wouldn't pause it and take a
they
look.
could have went back and retried it and used the fourth husband that was in the yard too, and did it, made it a capital case on multiple people because she killed multiple people. But
Sure.
It's millions and millions of dollars to try a death penalty case. Millions. And I've been involved in a death penalty case. I testified in one.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, not good friends, but I was very close to the court. So I knew how much it cost. It cost $1 million. The particular one I was involved in, $1 million before it even went to appeal.
Oh, gosh.
So, because they get an automatic appeal. So, that's part of it too, is to retry that. It's going to be another couple mil,
And we're also looking at, no offense to Betty, but we're also looking at a woman who murdered multiple people.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to claim.
Her fourth and fifth husband. And even if it was the mitigating circumstances, played out in the battered woman syndrome, and maybe they wouldn't have given her the death, but she still should have been punished.
Right.
Of course, she said she didn't do it. Her kids did it. Her kids testified, no, she did it.
What a mess.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like how do you blame your kids for a murder? But anyway.
Clearly she's not really
Yeah.
up to snuff on the morals of the world.
I just wanted you to keep this story in mind as you learn more about the Watkins drama.
Okay.
Which we will, I think, look at next time.
All right. So now we've got a little more history of Mr. Andrews and where his mind was or was not at, and the type of decisions he makes and what motivates his
what's about to happen,
decision making, and how that's going to play out in the Watkins case. I am excited to get back to that.
Yes.
And hear more about Shelley and Jerry and all that.
Your jaw will drop.
Well, okay. All right. Well, gosh, yeah, because this guy's scummy. So I can only imagine what he does to help Jerry Watkins not go to trial.
Yeah. And again, it's complicated, but Mr. DA, at the time, DA Andrews just ruins this case.
Oh my gosh. Okay. But we'll talk about that next time on Silent Witness, the true crime podcast here at Rogue Media Network.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.